Hi, I'm Nicholas, and this is my grandpa.
Hi.
Okay, so the first question. How has the community changed since you were young?
Well, it's changed quite a bit. When I was a kid, all the neighbors knew each other, and we all hung out together, and we all had fun and played and did everything with each other. And where I grew up in a bigger city, and still everybody knew each other, and everybody looked out for each other. When I was young, I could just take off, and when I'd get up in the morning, I'd head out and go do whatever I wanted to do and come home, and my parents didn't have to worry about me. We didn't have a lot of weirdos around then that were looking to hurt people, so we could just run around, and of course we didn't have to lock our doors or anything or do any of that kind of stuff. Now you got to be a little more careful about the people that your kids are around and where they go, and keep track of them and everything else. So it was a lot simpler and a lot easier, and people more or less looked after each other better back then.
Second question. When you were young, how did you earn a living?
I went and I mowed lawns and pulled weeds for people and helped them clean up things, and just anything I could make a little extra money so I could go and buy some candy or something, or a pop, because back then it was kind of rare to get candy or a pop. You had to work for your money and go to get that kind of stuff. So.
How did your parents earn a living?
My mom stayed at home. She was a housewife. And my dad, he worked for the phone company, and he retired at the phone company.
How did most of your friends earn a living?
Well, they pretty much earned a living the same way I did. They'd go around and do little odd jobs like mow lawns and pull weeds or clean up yards or do things like that.
Describe a typical school day, length, subject, schedule, etc.
Well, school day, I'd walk to school and get to school, and we'd get in there and we'd have class, and then we'd take lunch and go out on the playground, and then we'd come back and take our classes, and at the end of the day we'd hook up with a friend and we'd walk home.
What was the discipline like in school?
Well, if we got in any kind of serious trouble, like a fight or something, we'd have to go to the principal's office, and he'd break out the board and give us a whack on the butt. And call our parents and have them show up at the office.
What sports or activities were available when you were a kid?
Just about every sport and activity was available when I was a kid. We played all that in school, and then after school we'd go play after school.
Was there a dress code? If so, what was it?
No, there was no dress codes back in our day. We didn't have to worry about gang colors or things like that. There wasn't a lot of that going on back then.
What did you do for fun or entertainment?
Well, basically anything I wanted to. We could go and do anything we wanted to. I used to go rattlesnake hunting. I'd been hunting rattlesnakes since I was about 5 years old when I brought home my first rattlesnakes. And I used to go out and hunt snakes and go out hiking and I'd head out into the canyons and the hills and hunt things. Was the thing I did the most. Either that or we'd play football in the street or go play baseball or just anything that came to mind we'd do, and we had fun at it.
If you lived in the country, how often did you go to town?
Well, we moved when I started about, I guess it'd be middle school here. And we always lived on the edge of the city, and the other half of it was farms. So I would just go and do the same thing. I'd go out hiking, or of course about then I was getting into girlfriends, so so I'd go visit my girlfriend,
What was special about holidays or Sundays?
Sundays I'd have to go to church, and holidays were always really special. I mean, we celebrated all the holidays. That was just part of what we did as a family.
Did you have any grandmas that made special recipes for you, or did anything else for the holidays?
Grandma always made the pies, and she'd make baked beans. It was something she was really proud of. But we'd usually go to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving dinner and things like that.
What was the price of goods, such as bread, gas, soft drinks, candy, eggs, when you were young?
Price was a lot cheaper, but as you go through the years, things get more expensive because the price of living goes up, so the price of bread and those kind of things are going to get more expensive too. The more money that people make, the more the prices of things go up, so you're going to pay more. The cost of living always stays the same for the time that you're living in. So if things are cheaper to buy, you're not making as much money. If you're making more money, things are more expensive.
What would you consider to be your greatest tragedy you've experienced?
When my mom and dad died, that's probably the worst. Or, my grandparents or anybody in my family's died. That's probably the worst tragedy.
What would be your most memorable moment?
My most memorable moment?
Yes.
There's a lot of them.
Go ahead, you can say
I don't know that there's any one particular, but most of it's just my life. When the kids were born, when I got married, when my grandkids were born, and spending time with all of them, and a lot of things I used to do. Everything that I can remember, most of my life has always been good moments.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah. You need to keep the kids off of the smartphones and have them start talking to each other face to face. We kind of lost track of that these days. Kids are so into staring at computers and games and phones that they don't do things with each other or talk to each other as much or find things to have fun doing. There's not a lot of social interaction anymore between people like there used to be. When we wanted to talk to our friends, we went to their house, knocked on the door, got them, and we went and did things and talked to each other and did all that. We didn't sit there and text them back and forth. So, and we had a lot more fun that way. It was a whole lot more fun when you do something with somebody than sit on a phone or a computer screen talking to somebody in a chair and not going and doing anything.
Well, thank you for being on this interview.
Hey, it's my pleasure.